According to the American Psychological Association, 1 in 5 adults are chronic procrastinators. But you opened the tab, hovered your thumb over publish, felt your jaw tighten, and slowly closed the laptop. You do not feel lazy. You do not feel scared. You do not feel broken. Over the next 8 minutes, you will see exactly why your brain keeps you taxiing on the runway and how to make takeoff feel safe, small, and obvious. If this hits, tap the desk once and commit to one tiny test by the end of this video. Not a life plan, one test. Here is the question I want you to hold. Why does imagining your future give you enough relief to stall today? And how do you break that loop without shaming yourself? You were not always like this. There was a time you were the one who stayed after class to finish the group poster, who biked across town to return a borrowed charger before morning, who rallied your friends for a last-minute study sprint. You were the helper, the finisher, the ringleader. Starting felt clean. Finishing felt like putting a tool back on its hook. Then life added eyes, options, and risk. More people watching, more ways to do it wrong, more tabs open. So you learned to idle with engines warm, because idling felt safe and smart. One idea from psychologist Bluma Zygarnik explains the ache you feel. The Zygarnik effect says unfinished tasks grip your attention more than finished ones. Plain language. Open loops do not go quiet. Your mind keeps a tab alive until you either do the thing or decide it truly does not matter. That is why the business you have not started, the novel you have not opened, the training plan you have not followed keep humming in the background. Waiting is not neutral. It charges rent in attention. So if open loops drain you, why do you keep stacking more and calling it preparation? Let's open the plane and see what sits between you and day one. Layer 1. The mental movie reward scene. In bed, you replay the highlight reel. First sale pinging. Before and after in your camera roll, a message saying you changed their life. Your shoulders drop. Your chest warms. Minus, you tell yourself that keeping the dream vivid keeps you hungry. But actually that crisp movie gives you a tiny reward now, so tomorrow's urgency leaks away. Minus price, your engines burn fuel on the runway and you wake up heavier than you went to sleep. Layer 2 minus protecting the perfect you minus scene. Cursor hovering over publish. Thumb floating over send. You breathe out, tweak a comma, and promise to share tomorrow. Minus, you tell yourself you are not ready, but actually you are shielding the version of you who could be great by never letting reality test them. Minus, price. You live with a spotless, imaginary identity instead of a slightly dented, very real one. Layer 3, thinking that tires you. Mana scene. Whiteboard full of arrows, 15 tabs open, a calendar mapped like a military op. You orchestrate everything except your feet moving. Minus, you tell yourself detailed planning prevents mistakes. But actually, heavy thinking burns real energy and magnifies problems until day one already feels impossible. Minus, price. By the time you try to step, your legs feel like rubber. Pause. Before the next 2 layers, breathe. This is not a moral failure. It is a system that taught your brain to love the runway and fear the sky. Systems can be changed. Layer 4. The identity mismatch scene. A friend invites you to lift. You laugh, say it is not your thing, then secretly watch deadlift tutorials at midnight. Tell yourself that is just not who you are. But actually your brain hates contradiction and drags actions back to your last known story. Price. Every attempt at the new you triggers resistance that feels like truth. Layer 5. The romance with potential scene. Over coffee, you pitch your idea, and everyone nods like you are destined. It feels electric. At home, the screen is blank and quiet. You self being meant for big things should count for something. But actually, potential is applause with no product, comfort with no change. Minus price. You become fluent in talking about a life you never have to live. Now that you can name the layers, the next move becomes simple and uncomfortable. How do you move a plane that has learned to love the runway without blowing up the flight plan? Here is where it gets complicated. Not starting sometimes protects things that matter, your savings, your time, your health. If you try to take off every idea at once, you stall. So the move is not speed. The move is redefining what a start is. Perfection is a stall. Progress is a data point. This is not just for founders or gym people. It is for anyone with a tab open in their head. Anyone tired of paying attention tax on ideas they never use. So how do you collect data points without torching your runway? You are not lazy. You are not inconsistent. You are someone who runs small, honest experiments in public and lets tiny proofs rewrite who you are. Here is the move that gets you off the runway. Stop trying to start. Start trying to find out. Not I will build a business. I will find out if 5 strangers want this exact offer. Not I will get fit. I will find out how I feel after going once this week. Not I will become a creator. I will find out what happens if I post one messy thing today. Tests, not vows. Data, not drama. Big proof for the small path. Researchers at University College London followed 96 people building new habits and found that consistent small actions became automatic, taking about 66 days on average. Translation for your runway. Repeating tiny tests turns behavior into identity, and your brain shifts from guarding the idea to backing the action. Today you choose one test, one honest, tiny test. Send one email. Publish one unpolished post. Go once. Build one screen. If it flops, you learned. If it lands, you repeat. Either way, the plane moves and the hum in your head gets quieter. Guard your runway by shipping boring steps. Press the button below whose name I will not even say. What is your tiny test for this week, and what is the exact first move? Drop it in the comments so your brain sees it outside your head.